Hi everybody, this is Tom, the Clockwork Alien, and I wanted to welcome you to our first show of the new year. We have a few things to go over today, and we're going to get a start on our can koozie project. So let's get started, shall we? Okay, and welcome back. As I mentioned, we are going to actually get started on our leather can koozie project today. It's going to become a three-part series. Today's episode, we're going to actually sit down and I'm going to show you how to generate your own customized leather stamps using your 3D printer. All part of, as I said in my original intro video a long time ago, how I integrate my leather work and my whip making and my 3D print hobbies, as well as my interest in steampunk, all together into one setup. So we're going to show you how. I'm going to go over this, how to make one of these, and its results, which hopefully you can see this. Turns out pretty good. A little bit of work. So that'll be the first part that we cover today, and we'll go over to that in just a moment. But first, I wanted to welcome all the new folks that we seem to have all of a sudden accumulated on the channel. I think it's awesome. Our subscriber base has grown as of this morning to 23 members, which puts us almost halfway to our goal of the year of 50 members for the channel. We hit 50 before that, we will definitely be doing a big we'll be doing some kind of giveaway, and as an appreciation, and we'll just set a new goal for the year at that point. So welcome to all the new folks, and I hope that you are enjoying this as much as everybody else. So why don't we skip over to Fusion 360 now and get started on showing how to set this up. Okay, and now we're back into Fusion 360, where we're going to actually create this little stamp. Actually, not so little, but I'm working off of a front view. I just find it more convenient for myself when I do this. And to start with, we're going to do just like with our maker coin. We're going to make a circle, add the teeth to it, add our photo into it. That's been converted over to a vector graphic. And then we're going to begin by making our sketch for our circle. So now we place our center point. And the link for the maker coin video will be posted up here so you can actually see it. And we'll specify this out to 80, just remembering from my maker coin setup. And we're going to stop the sketch so we don't keep having issues with it. Now I'm going to actually draw the tooth pattern while I'm doing this now, and it'll make life a lot easier when we go to draw, when we extrude and we go to draw. So we're going to go ahead and make our tooth. We'll go ahead and make another sketch. This time we're just going to do a line sketch. Select the plane, which is the plane we're working on. And of course it jumps it back up to the center, which is always a pain in the keister sometimes. Oops, stop the sketch because I did that wrong. So let's try that again, shall we? And don't be afraid to make these mistakes. We do it all the time. It's not a problem. I mean, of course, trying to get to the plane that I want. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click on this plane. That way I know what plane I'm on. There we go. And we'll come up here and click off of this so we can place our first point, which we're going to make 6 millimeters across the top, down 4 millimeters, and then 4 millimeters across the bottom. Same as what we did for the maker coin. So we'll just come over here, 1, 2, 3 lines. Somewhere right in here is the third line. There we go. 3. Come down. So 4 in 1 line. Make our mark. Come over 1, 2,
3, and 4. And this is where having snap to your grid comes in real handy when you're doing this. And then we're just going to come up and over one, close this out like this. Then we're going to stop the sketch. Okay, so now we have the outline of our tooth and our other plane. So now what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we're going to extrude. We're going to select this and we're going to extrude this 3 millimeters. Because our stamp tooth, as I explained earlier, is only about we only need about a 2 to 3 millimeter depth to do this with. So we're going to go 3 millimeters, hit OK. And as you notice, it left the cutout here, so I don't even have to go back in later and cut this out. So now what we'll do is we're going to make a circular pattern by holding down the control key, hitting and selecting each of these 3 faces. There we go, we want the face. Put this back up so we can actually see how we do this when we go to do this, so we can actually see what we're working with. And hopefully I have all the things selected. So now we're going to go into Create, Pattern, Circular. I have 3 things selected, so now I'm going to go in and select my axis. And I find sometimes it's easier when we're doing this to kind of rotate it back up and select our axes. So we have our axes, we have the faces, and you can see here the little things showing where each of those points are. So we're going to start increasing these until we get what we think is a nice number. 4, not quite, 6, kind of big teeth. We want this to be kind of proportionate, so as you can see, remembering, and I could just directly type this in, it's going to end up being 20 faces. Okay. Because that's what we had on our maker coin. I just happened to remember it from that. So we hit OK. There's our gear teeth. Okay, now the only problem is, like I pointed out, we have to make this thing narrower so that when we go to press this into the leather, we are only working with a small space to start with. So we are going to make another sketch. And everybody's like, oh my god, not another one. So first off, what we're going to do is we're going to zoom this in, actually, believe it or not. Just a little bit so we can actually see what we're doing when we do this. And then we're going to make another sketch. We're going to do another circular sketch. Center diameter. And we're going to click on this face. And we're going to put this right on the origin, which makes it very convenient for us when we go to do this part. Now we're going to drag this out until we have about 1 millimeter of surface area left, which conveniently that leaves us about a 70 millimeter circle. So I only want about a 1 millimeter line going in between here. So we're going to say OK to that. Now we're going to come in here and we're going to do an extrude on this one. And we're going to do 3 millimeters. But we need to see which way we're going, like I said. Now the arrow is pointing the wrong direction, so we're going to make this a -3. And that makes it a cut automatically. As you can see, it changed color. We hit OK. And when we bring this back around to a front view, we have a thin line here on for our gear teeth. Now the problem you're going to see is that, you're like, oh, well, what good is this doing us when we are actually going to be doing, so we're going to turn our sketch back on so we can actually see what we've got. And now we're going to actually be making another sketch in here. So as we were showing, we're going to be having to cut away some area in here and leave a 1 millimeter gap on this. We're going to actually cut away a section in each of these teeth. And to do this, I am going to zoom in a bit more. Hopefully I get my thing back. Okay. So now we're going to create another sketch. We really need sketch 2 on there. So we're going to create another sketch, just a simple set of lines. And we're going to select this face. And yeah. I think we'll zoom out just a little bit. Whoops, stop sketch. Because I goofed up. Undo that sketch real quick. There we go. Hit stop sketch for just a second. And I gotta see what we're going to be doing here. So we're going to be zooming this in just a bit so we can actually see really well. Then we're going to come out here, we're going to go sketch, line, planar face is going to be this one. Zoom out so we can actually get to where we need to be a little quicker. Pan up to the top of our tooth here. And yeah, I know it's a little annoying sometimes, but Fusion tends to like to be annoying. So, and this way I can actually see what it is I'm working on as I'm doing this. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more, just so I have some finer control over what I'm doing. And pan down so I can see the tooth. So now I know these are like the bigger squares are actually 1/2 mil squares. So that's what we're looking for. Okay, so we're going to come across here and have approximately we need to come across here and make approximately 2 teeth to make 1 millimeter. Because we know this is a 1 mil and it's taking up 2 boxes. So we know we come in here. We start here. That looks pretty good. That will leave us a 1 millimeter blank. So we're going to select our first point here. We want to come down. And yes, we'll come down. We'll match this angle. So we have 1 square and looks like 1, 2 lines. So we'll come over 1, 2. Come over there. There we go. 3 lines. Boom. We come up to here. And we find 1, 2. This actually works out pretty good for us. Might be just a little bit off, but we'll work with this. Okay, and now we're going to come up here. And we have, so here's the trick. Okay, we got to come down. We're actually above a line here, so we're about 1, 2, 3, 4. So we come down 5, we come down 1. So now we are down to where we want to be. So we're now approximately just over 1. We got to come over to that line right there. And then we're going to bring this over, close this gap out, and this should leave us approximately a 1 mil line. So we stop our cut there. Okay? And that looks pretty even. We can come in and clean this up afterwards. So we're going to select this. Now we're going to extrude this out so we can cut this. So we're going to extrude. And again, I always verify which way my line wants to go. So I make it a -3. So it cuts. Hit OK. Rotate this back through. And now we have our 4 things. Now, to do this, we don't have to hunt this around. Looks pretty good, pretty even. So we don't have to make this pattern constantly with this. We are going to actually use the orbit feature, which is a little bit interesting. So we can actually get, and again we're going to go through up here, close this off, Come in here, select control, select 1, 2. I'm going to come down here, select the orbit control again. Hold down my control key. Deselect, hold down my control key. 3, 4 faces. And then I'm going to come up here and hit my home button. And you can see that brings me back to the home position. Now I can bring this back around to the front. And now I have everything back. That's a real quick, cute trick. This little home button up here brings everything back where it needs to be. So now we're going to do, again, a circular pattern of those 4 faces. So we have those 4 faces. Now we need to select our axes. And to do that, we're going to do just like we did before. We're going to just flip this upright. Grab the axes that we want. Flip this back on top. And it says 3. Now we know we have 20 teeth. So we're going to make this 20. And it's going to put that exactly over each of those teeth and center it exactly the way we made them. We hit the OK button, and there we have it. Okay, there's the start of our gearing section. So we have all of that. Now we can actually turn off that sketch. So now we have this. Now we have to bring in our little alien guy, bring him in, and extrude him. Then we're going to make we'll change gears just a little bit and make our 4x6 plate that we're going to use and put in our text, edit our plate size down, something reasonable, and we'll be all set. So now what we need to do is we need to insert an SVG, and hopefully I remember where I put this. We'll browse for it, and it's not in there, so we need to go into Documents, 3D print files. No, it's not 3D print files. Where the heck is that? Maybe it's the 3D print files. I gotta look. If I remember, now I just have to remember where I put this. And let's see if my SVG clip art version 2 trans big card logo. 3D print 2. Boy, I love it when I can't remember. ET and cog. Hopefully this is the one I want. And the plain face I want to put this in is here. Yes, that's okay. Okay, looks like that one was not the correct file. Okay, so nope, that was not the correct file, so we will come in here and just go cancel. Sometimes it takes me a couple of tries to figure out which one is my SVG file, the correct SVG. My apologies, folks, but we'll figure out what it is here in a minute. Maybe business card for print SVG. Let's see if this is the right one. Okay, this is probably the right one. Now we just have to actually, as we did in our maker file, we have to actually kind of scroll down and see if we can find it. There he is, way down there. So now we have to just bring him up. We grab our centering thing, just because of the way when I did my SVG, it really didn't work out real well. So now we'll just kind of eyeball center him there. Hit OK. And let my computer catch up with me what I'm doing here. And then we'll zoom this back in. And we can now see our little guy, space guy, right here. So now we're going to make a 3mm extrusion of our guy. So we're going to select individual parts of him here. And we're going to control. Sometimes I might have to actually scroll this in just a little bit more so I can actually get better res on what I'm doing. And so we're going to stop the sketch. And then we're going to come in here and we're just going to go him, this dot, this dot. Oops, that's not what I want. There we go. So now we have that selected. We're going to do the same thing. We're just going to extrude. And we're just going to make him 3 millimeters tall. Go 3. Hit OK. As we wait for my computer to get done freaking out. And we'll see if it actually did what we wanted it to do here. As we wait for it to chew on it, there we go. And we should have a nice, yes we do. We now have our guy. Okay. So we can turn sketches off for just a moment. And we'll zoom this back out so we can actually see what we have here. Okay. So now what we have is a little small in there, but it'll be okay. Actually, that's actually good because this will allow for a little bit more room around him, which won't be a bad thing. Make a nice centered up part. So now what we're going to have is we're going to come over here and we're going to make the rest of our image. And so we're going to actually put some lettering in here. But first what we're going to do is switch this back to inches because it'll be easier to draw. I know that I have a 4x6 work zone. So we're going to just kind of make this whatever. And we're going to make something that actually looks about what we want. So we're going to come in here. And what we'll do, here's the trick. We're going to put our lettering on this, but we're going to extrude them to the back side. So what we'll do is we're going to make all this, because everything here is going to have to be done on the back of the thing. Otherwise, our stuff is going to all be done kind of goofy. So let's scroll down here just so I can get all my lines in where I want them. Okay. So I'm going to do one more sketch. And this time we're just going to make a rectangle. We'll make a 2-point rectangle because it'll probably be easier. Select this plane. Place the first corner, we'll say here. Specifying the size of my rectangle. Oh, I don't know. What are these? 1/2-inch squares. So that's 4. And if I make that 6 inches, is that quite right? For the plate, I believe I can get my lettering on a 4x6 plate area. And we'll hit that. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put some text in here. So now we can actually see where our text is going to be. So we come in here, right click, except not right there. Come in, go here, and I hate this one. I can never remember how to do text. Thread hole pattern. Yes, you'll have to excuse me, folks. I did do this, work through this, but it's just not wanting to cooperate today. Stop sketch. There we go. And turn on that latest sketch so I actually have it. different sketches on it would help. Okay, so now sometimes it can be a bit of a pain. My computer being a pain in its collective keister here. Select the point for it. Now we can move this around after we get done, obviously. So we're going to say here, I want to put Clockwork Alien, so we'll say, let's say right about in here somewhere. And we'll move this around as we go. And the text we're going to use for this, I'm going to use the same text I used in the Maker coin because it's a nice blocky font. Microsoft sans serif, and we're going to put in HE. That looks pretty good. And like I said, we can move this around as we go. Okay? So now we do the same thing again. We're going to just put in, oops, click off to the side. Hit stop sketch. It helps tremendously when you're working. If you remember to hit the stop sketch mode. Sketch. Text. And we're going to do it here. Just like we did this one. And we'll put this over here. Let's say right about here. That looks like a good spot. And like I said, we can move this around as we go. And again, we select our proper font. And we put this in here. CKWORK. Looks pretty good to me. I think we've got this pretty well handled. We hit OK. Stop our sketch. And we'll see, we'll do this one more time. Is there a quicker way to do this? There may be. Do I know a quicker way to do this? Not necessarily. So you have to excuse the fact that I am not the foremost authority on Fusion 360. But we should be able to knock this. This will turn out okay once we get going here. And it'll turn out fine. And this will turn out just fine. There's lots of ways, I've always learned there's lots of ways we can realistically do this. Let's move this down just a little bit. Hit OK. If I select this one, I can go move, which is fine because that's what I want to do. Is I just want to bring this down here, a little more centered on things, and move. Yeah, we make this just nice and centered. Yeah, maybe up a few lines here. Call it good, and that looks good. So now we have all this, and you're saying, but here's the thing. If I do it here and I print this, so we're going to extrude this 3 millimeters. Not to worry, we know what we're doing. Okay, so what we're going to do here is, I don't know what the little artifacts are, but we'll turn off sketch. Oops, can't turn off sketch 5. That's part of the sketch. Okay, no big deal. I may have just goofed this up, but we'll see how it goes. Edit, explode text. Oh, you know what? Let's stop our sketch. That might help. So if I highlight this, we now have, let's just do a quick rotate. Yeah, we don't have anything at all. But you notice our plane is behind. Our plane is actually on top. So what we're going to do, which is good, because I want to see what I'm going to do here, is I'm going to select this. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to extrude this 3 millimeters. Actually, we need to look and see what the extrusion direction is. So we want to go minus 3 millimeters. Minus 3. Oops, not minus 3 inches. Wrong. Just go with 0 for right now. We don't want to do it. Because I forgot I had this in inches because I was doing something else. So now we need to go back to millimeters. The faultiness of doing things in different methods. So we're going to do select this, select this, and select this, hopefully. We're going to come up here and go extrude. And we're going to go minus 3. And we're going to see if that actually came out. Yep, that's in line, which is good. So now we're going to turn off bodies for right now. Okay, and we're going to turn the sketch on. Okay, so now we have an issue because now we have a 4x6 sketch here that isn't quite, because I have this on here. Okay, so that's not a problem. What we'll do instead is we'll just turn the bodies back on. And we will just create an item that encompasses this and extrude it the other way by 5 millimeters. Okay, so we want all of this to be on the bottom of our stamp. Otherwise, if we did it underneath, this would be backwards when we'll have to stamp it. And so what we'll do is we'll just create, and we'll just create a box. Here's another way we can do this. So we're just going to create this box. We're going to put it right on that planar face right there. Okay? Now it wants me to place the first corner of my box. Alright, so we're going to place the first corner. And we're going to come all the way out to here. And we're going to say I want it to be that long by that wide. Actually, come on, just a little bit more. Give me a little bit of room here. That looks pretty freaking good. Now when it comes up with the next measurement, doopy-doopy-dee. And it wants to say how thick do I want. Well, it just gave me my height of 5 millimeters, so we're going to go okay with that. I'm okay with that. So now we just have to wait for it to chew on that. And we should have, boing, hey, there we go. We have all of our stuff ready to rock and roll. So now we just need to do a quick combine feature. And this is this is actually the face of our stamp. And as you can see, our type is now backwards, which is what we want. Okay. Let's see. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do a combined. Modify. Combine. First body we're going to pick is this one, the target body. Then we're going to select this guy right here. Once my computer decides it's going to cooperate. You'll have to excuse my poor computer, it's old and cranky. There we go. And then we're going to select. Maybe I goofed that up. Alright, well, let's do a cancel on that. Alright. So if I do a rotation to here, and I highlight this piece here, and I want to move this piece. Okay, it already combined all those. I drew that right on top, so it's all combined. That's why we couldn't do the combined earlier. So there we have it. And as you can see, our front is blank, which it should be. And as you can see, there's our stamp. Our lettering is all set. And everything here is all drawn in, nice and pretty. Now with the 1mm width, that should do it. So now let's go ahead and I'll actually save this and call it, we'll just abbreviate Clockwork Alien Leather Stamp. Fine, always save work before we get too far involved. I've lost a lot of work this way. So now the next step, what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and go under File, we're going to 3D Print. And as you can see, this has my Kira already picked up, so I'm going to just highlight this. It says OK. I'm going to hit that. And Kira should come up on the screen here momentarily. And when it does, we'll just set it up, and then I'll send it over to Kira, send it to the printer, and we'll be all set. As soon as Kira comes up, there we go. Bring this up, see what it looks like. We don't want it to look that way though. So we're going to rotate this guy. And yes, I know it's kind of big. 4x6 is kind of big. But this is going on our, this is going into our it's kind of upside down also, but anyway, you get the gist. Upside down is not a big deal. Okay, so there we have it. It's there. I will be sending this to the printer, and we'll do a time lapse on it and bring it back to you when it's done, and you'll get to see how it looks being printed and also what it looks like afterwards, and when I'll explain how it's used at that point. So thank you very much, folks, and we'll just get moving along here, and I'll see you in a little while.
now that we're done with the time lapse and you got a chance to see that being made and printed out, this is how it turns out as I showed you earlier. Let's see if we can get a little bit better close-up of it, and you can see it works extremely well. I'll show you the technique I use for imprinting this into the leather actually in the next step where we're making the pattern and doing some of the prep work for making the can koozie. And then this third part of the series will be doing the finish work and doing the final assembly work on it. So we'll be covering a bit of ground on both of these in the next couple of episodes. This was just a trial piece to see how it turned out on the stamp work, and as you can see, it impresses quite nicely. So, like I said earlier, again, thank you very much for everybody who has just recently joined our channel. It's been great seeing the channel all of a sudden explode here this first weekend of the new year. And like I said, we're up to like 23 members as of this morning when I looked, which is awesome. So if you are enjoying this and you're not a member yet, please go ahead and subscribe. The button, hit the like button and the subscribe button down below, and it'll help the channel. Definitely help us out with growing. And as I said, I do have a goal of reaching 50 members by the end of the year this year. If we do that before then, we'll be doing definitely be doing some kind of a giveaway like I did last year with our Maker Coin giveaway. Speaking of which, Mark, you still need to get a hold of me so I can send you your Maker Coin that you won. Okay, I haven't been able to find a way to contact you. Please get a hold of me. Leave an email in the comment or contact me on email. It's also down in the video description, so you'll be able to get in touch with me. That way, you and I can get you your Maker Coin that you won out of our drawing last year before the holidays. Other than that, if you really want to help out, come on over, check out my Patreon page. Beginning this year, there is going to be some content that's going to only go up on Patreon. Not a lot, but enough to kind of whet everybody's appetite and get them over there to see what's going on. You can come over, toss me a buck or so if you want. It's not a requirement by any way, shape, or form, but it would greatly help the channel and help us get some new equipment, a little bit better lighting equipment and a few other things, and really help along doing project work. Other than that, join me over on Facebook. I have a Facebook page, The Clockwork Alien, or you can find me over there. Leave comments, come over, be social. Let's have some fun there. But other than that, it's been great doing this, and hopefully this year we'll be able to do a lot more fun stuff and a few other new projects and make the channel even better. Again, thank you very much, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.